Dear students, in this video we are going to deal with the molecular orbital treatment for the metal carbonyl organometallic. Okay, so before going to the detailed explanation for the metal carbon bonding nature, we have to recall the carbon oxygen bonding nature of the carbonyl group. Okay, so this is the molecular orbital diagram for the carbonyl group that you might have studied in your lower classes, that is in your BSc class. However, it is mandatory to recall the bonding nature between the carbon and oxygen. Once you might have understood this bonding nature between carbon and oxygen, it is easy for you to understand the bonding nature between the metal and carbonyl. Okay, so first let us look on to the molecular orbital treatment for the carbonyl group. So this is the molecular orbital diagram. So in this molecular orbital diagram, we have taken the carbon atom, that is atomic orbitals of the carbon atom in the left side, and in the right hand side we are going to take the atomic orbitals of the oxygen. Since you know that in the molecular orbital diagram, that is while you are drawing the molecular orbital diagram, you must take a higher electronegative atom in the right hand side, and the higher electronegative atom is always possessing the lower energy. Therefore I have drawn the oxygen atomic orbitals of the oxygen, the lower energy side, that is in the right side. But in the left hand side you must draw less electronegative carbon atom in the left hand side, and also that less electronegative carbon will possess a higher energy. Let us fill the electrons for both the atoms. In the first case, in the right hand side we must start the filling from the 2s. 1s can be 1s orbital can be ignored for the space consumption. Okay, so in the 2s orbital we have we are going to fill the 2 electrons, and the 4 more electrons can be filled in the 2p orbital. Okay, so similarly we can write fill the electrons in the left hand side also for the carbon atom. Okay, so since one non-bonding orbital is going to be arised, we must simply avoid the overlapping of 2s orbital of the oxygen with the carbon. Therefore it is kept as left. Okay, then the overlapping of the 2p orbitals of the oxygen, then 2s orbital of the carbon as well as 2p orbital of the carbon are getting overlapped. Okay, here 3 orbitals, and here 3 orbitals and 1 orbital, therefore totally 7 orbitals. Okay, so for 7 orbitals, 7 atomic orbitals are going to combined, we will get 3 bonding molecular orbitals and 3 anti-bonding molecular orbitals, and surely 1 non-bonding orbital will be obtained. So among the 3 bonding orbitals, surely 1 sigma orbital, sigma bonding orbital, and 2 pi bonding orbital we must receive. Then after that we must get one sigma anti-bonding empty orbital and 2 more anti-bonding pi star empty orbital, and 1 more non-bonding orbital we will get. 1 non-bonding orbital means it is called HOMO. Why that HOMO is the term comes here? HOMO means highly occupied molecular orbital, means here you are seeing that all the bonding molecular orbitals are getting filled. Okay, among all the filled orbitals, this orbital is placed in the higher energy. Therefore it is called high energy occupied molecular orbital. So therefore it is simply called HOMO. Therefore high molecular orbital, and this species is having one lobe, and that one lobe is possessing 2 electrons, as we have seen in the nitrogen. Okay, we have seen in the nitrogen, not nitrogen, in the ammonia. In the case of ammonia, we have 1 non-bonded electron or lone pair of electron. So likewise the same symmetric, that is the same structure is coming here also. Okay, so this is called a non-bonded electron, and it is possessing sigma symmetric. Then let us go to the anti-bonding pi star orbital. In the lower classes, you might have studied that the basic criteria for overlapping of atomic orbitals. What are the two basic criteria? One is matching symmetry, another one is matching energy. We have to concentrate on the matching symmetry. What is called symmetry of atomic orbitals? If you take any atomic orbitals, you will find plus or minus sign. That is called symmetry. If you take two orbitals, provided that they are matching energy, so we need not bother about that. But if you take one atomic orbital, that is p orbital, and another one atomic orbital, since these two lobes of the atomic p orbitals are going to combine, these two lobes must possess same sign, that is same symmetry. But here we don't have the same symmetry. Because of the absence of symmetry, these two lobes cannot combine or cannot overlap. Therefore, they will repel each other far as away possible. So, these two are not in energy, not matching symmetry. These two will get maximum repulsion. Okay, maximum repulsion. Okay. So what is application of this maximum repelled orbitals? Okay, so let us stop this molecular orbital diagram of the carbonyl group. Okay, but then let us come to the orbitals of the, that is especially d orbitals of the metal. We know that there are 5 d orbitals for every atom. So especially we are going to take especially for metal. Okay, in the metal also we are having 5 d orbitals. So among those 5 d orbitals can be divided into two sets. Okay, since carbonyl group is acting as a ligand, when that carbonyl group is approaching as a ligand towards the metal, that metal d orbital will be getting split into two sets. Okay, so among the two sets, one set is called T2G, another one set is called EG. You know that. So T2G set of orbitals are always lying in the lower energy, and they are always getting filled. Okay, that is dxy, dzx, and dyz. These are called T2G symmetric orbitals, and these are always termed as filled in nature, and they are pi symmetric in nature. Then the remaining two orbitals are dx square minus y square and dz square. These are called higher energy orbitals, and these sometimes called EG orbitals, and these are surely possessing sigma symmetric. Okay, see, then you might have doubt about that. What is called sigma symmetric and pi symmetric? The orbitals which are going to form the pi bond, then they will be called pi symmetric orbital. Then what are called sigma symmetric orbitals? Sigma symmetric orbitals are nothing but if these orbitals are forming any bond, then that bond will be surely sigma bond. Okay. Therefore, let us conclude what are called sigma symmetric and pi symmetric, and sigma symmetric of the carbonyl and pi symmetric of the carbonyl. Okay, so now you can come somewhat a clear idea. Okay, what is that clear idea? That is, we are having sigma symmetric in the metal, and we are having sigma symmetric in the carbonyl, and then we have pi symmetric in the metal, and we have pi symmetric in the carbonyl. So pi symmetric will also combine with pi symmetric, and sigma symmetric also will also combine with the sigma symmetric. Okay, so likewise we are going to skip the another, that is conclusion section. First let us see the metal carbon bond formation. So first thing, we must form the sigma bond. Okay, how sigma bond occurs? How usually a coordination bond occurs? A coordination bond is a bond in which the ligand is going to donate its lone pair of electrons to the metal. Likewise, carbonyl is also acting as a ligand. So this ligand is, that is, this carbonyl ligand is going to give its pair of electrons from its non-bonding sigma symmetric orbital to the metal. So okay, this is having non-bonding electron, it is filled and it is sigma symmetric, okay, non-bonding. And this is also, this is called metal orbital, and this metal orbital is empty orbital. For this empty orbital, this filled non-bonding sigma symmetric carbonyl orbital is going to donate its electrons. Okay, so this is also possessing sigma symmetry and this is also possessing sigma symmetry. Therefore, both of them will overlap and resulting in the formation of sigma bond. Okay, this is called sigma bond. Why this is called sigma donation means, for the formation of any sigma bond, you might have studied in the lower classes that sigma bond, sigma, not only sigma bond, sigma bar and sigma bond or pi bond, any bond, any type of covalent bond, it requires the mutual sharing. Suppose if one hydrogen gives one electron, then the one more hydrogen will give another that is one of its electron. Therefore, mutually they should share their electrons. But here it is called sigma bond. But here the two electrons for a bond, for a single bond, is solely, purely donated by the ligand itself. Okay, by the ligand itself, whereas the metal is possessing empty now. Okay, therefore it is called sigma bond formation, or it is specifically termed as sigma donation. Then let us come to the pi accepting. How pi accepting is occurring. So we have seen that here in the carbonyl, one empty, higher energy empty orbital. Okay, and also here in the metal we are having lower energy but filled, okay, but filled orbital. Both of them are possessing pi symmetry. So when both of the atoms or groups or metals or metal ligands are possessing the pi symmetry, then no struggle will be observed in the formation of the bond formation. So here it is the empty orbital of the pi star antibonding orbital of the carbonyl group, and this is the pi symmetric T2G orbital of the metal. Since this antibonding and empty carbonyl group doesn't possess any electrons, therefore this metal starts to donate its pair of electrons to the empty orbital of the carbonyl. Therefore it is called pi accepting. Therefore this carbonyl group is called pi accepting ligand or pi acid ligand, pi accepting or pi acid ligand. Therefore as a result we are going to get the formation of the pi bond. Therefore sigma bond as well as pi bond is formed in between the metal as well as carbonyl. Then my dear friends, here you might have heard about one word that is called back donation. Here we are taking metal and carbonyl. So in the metal we are having one T2G and Eg. T2G is filled while Eg is empty. T2G is pi symmetry while Eg is sigma symmetry. Whereas for the carbonyl we are having one non-bonding and it is filled with electrons, but one pi star anti-bonding, it is empty. Now the non-bonded electrons of the carbonyl is going to donate its pair of electrons to the anti-bonding or highest energy of the metal. So it is getting filled. Since we have considered this is somewhat anti-bonding in nature, so according to the bond order, the electrons which are present in the anti-bonding will collapse the entire molecule. Therefore this sharing of or this donation of electrons to the Eg orbital is not a favorable one. It is possible one but not favorable one. Therefore these electrons are having the tendency to come and occupy the lower energy. Meanwhile, if they are trying to come and occupy the lowest energy of the orbitals, but here we have already two more electrons. So these two more electrons will be shifted to this anti-bonding pi orbitals of the carbonyl. But according to Hund's rule, we cannot have the electrons in the pi star, that is anti-bonding orbital, without having the electrons in the non-bonding electron, because this non-bonded electrons are shifted to the anti-bonding orbital of the metal. Therefore, the immediate transfer of this electrons to here pi star will be shifted again to the non-bonded electrons. Therefore, one sigma bond arises, but that sigma bond is again strengthened by pi bond formation. Once pi bond formation is resulting, then this pi bond formation is again strengthened by sigma bond donation. So after getting the sigma bond formation, that sigma bonded electrons is immediately coming down here, and already present electrons are shifted towards the pi star orbitals. So likewise, this electron are going here and coming down here, the present electrons are going here and come here. So likewise, one cyclic process is forming. Therefore, this sigma bond formation is strengthened by pi bond formation, and pi bond formation is strengthened by sigma bond formation. So this is called back donation, okay, or back bonding. So my dear friends, I hope you will get the clear idea about the this pi bonding, or the entire bonding nature of the metal carbonyl bond formation. So let us meet in the next video. If you have any doubt, you can post your comments on the comment section. So let us meet in the next video with more useful topic. Okay, thank you.